You know the feeling. You're standing right there in the pro shop, staring down at the spec sheets on your phone, just trying to figure out which used club isn't going to totally waste your hard-earned cash. Well, today, we're settling the TaylorMade R11 versus TaylorMade R11 debate in a direct head-to-head battle. We're not going to reveal the winner just yet, but prepare to have your assumptions heavily challenged. Welcome to Golf Gear Showdown, the explainer where we put golf gear head-to-head to help you pick the right winner for your beer and actually sleeve you some money. So picture this. It's a super familiar scenario. You're at the local golf shop, checking out the used rack, and you see both of these classic metalwoods just sitting there, practically begging to be hit. Real American golfers compare these two drivers literally every single day. I mean, they both represent that wild era between 2011 and 2013 where TaylorMade was dropping a brand new white driver like every 6 months. And now, they completely flood the used market. People want that premium brand name, but they sure don't want to pay retail prices.
Exactly, Jake. But listen, we absolutely must look past the old marketing hype. Yeah, they look pretty similar, and sure, they both have lots of shiny dials, but buying based purely on the name, or just assuming newer is automatically better, man, that can end up costing you fairways and completely ruining your weekend round.
All right, here's today's fight card. 1. The matchup setup. 2. Performance. 3. Control. 4. Price and value. 5. The biggest buying mistake. And 6. Our final verdict. And definitely stick around, because right before that final bell rings, we're revealing the absolute biggest buying mistake average golfers make with these two clubs. Trust me, you do not want to miss that costly reality check. Okay, let's get right into Section 1, the matchup setup. The R11 versus the R1 head-to-head. Before we start handing out points, we really have to define the clear contrast in golfer mentalities here. The Tinkerer perfectly represents the R1 player. Based on design intent, the R1 was built for players who absolutely love tweaking settings. You've got a loft sleeve, you've got movable weights, and this adjustable sole plate that controls face angle. You can meticulously dial in your launch conditions. Over on the other side, though, is the point-and-shoot golfer. That's your R11 player. And honestly, that describes most of us weekenders. The R1 famously offered 168 different ways to set up the club head. For a 15 handicapper trying to break 90, 168 settings really just means 168 ways to completely mess up your swing before you even reach the first tee box. We just want to peg it and hit it. Moving on to Section 2. Rounds 1 and 2 looking at performance, distance, and forgiveness. Ding ding! Let's ring the bell for our performance rounds. Look, the R1 gets the early edge for raw distance. Based on design intent, it gives players massive room to chase a stronger ball flight. By adjusting the loft completely independent of the face angle and moving the center of gravity around, a player can effectively lower their spin rate and squeeze out an extra 10 to 15 yards of carry if they get those launch metrics right. Whoa, hold on a second, Mike. Weekenders rarely know how to dial in spin rates properly without a professional fitter and a launch monitor. Sure, it has massive distance upside, but that potential only matters if you actually know what you're doing with all those variables. For the average guy, twisting those dials blind is basically a recipe for disaster. That's a fair point, Jake. But strictly speaking on raw potential, I have to give this round to the newer tech. The round 1 winner is the TaylorMade R1. But with a massive asterisk, it only wins if you're actually going to use a wrench to tune it properly.
Fair enough. But moving right into round 2, let's talk about what happens when you miss the center of the face. When a 15 handicapper hits the R1 off the toe and they have the weight set up wrong for their swing path, man, that ball is dead. It spins completely offline. The R11 behaves so much more predictably on mishits. Common feedback suggests that over-tinkering with the R1 actually hurts your consistency. The R11 offers simpler, much more repeatable results. It vibrates a bit, sure, but the ball fights to stay alive and in play.
So for straightforward ease of use and everyday forgiveness that actually keeps you out of the woods, the R11 easily secures the point. The round 2 winner is undeniably the TaylorMade R11. Section 3. Rounds 3 and 4, covering control, accuracy, and consistency. So we are tied up at 1 round apiece. Stick with us here because we're about to reveal a secret about accuracy that most average golfers completely miss.
Here's the crucial question we need to answer. Which driver actually cures a weak slice? Look, Mike, I played with a guy last week hitting a brutal, weak slice right into the trees all afternoon. When a real player is struggling like that to keep the ball on the short grass, which of these two actually helps them survive their round?
Well, Jake, the R1 settings theoretically tighten dispersion for better players. You can actively manipulate that sole plate to close the face angle right up. That genuinely helps fight the right side of the golf course by forcing a draw bias right at address.
Yeah, I disagree entirely, man. Staring down at a heavily manipulated, super closed club face completely ruins a weekender's visual confidence. Common feedback suggests the R11 provides the stable, neutral alignment you actually need against a wipey fade. A driver giving you one dependable shape is often way more valuable than one doing 5 things inconsistently just because you messed with the sole plate.
Because of that dependable shape, I declare the R11 the round 3 winner for the average guy. We are leaving the R1 strictly for the detail-focused tinkerers who want to spend all day on the range. Moving seamlessly into round 4 for feel and confidence, we really have to talk about psychology. The R11 features that classic clean white crown. That paint pops aggressively against the green grass, heavily reducing glare and providing massive contrast for easy alignment. The R1 is significantly more polarizing. It added that super busy compass graphic on the crown that a lot of players found incredibly distracting. Therefore, the R11 is definitively the winner for feel and confidence.
Section 4, rounds 5 and 6, looking at value, the smart shopper move.
Now the R11 is definitely pulling ahead, but do not count the R11 out just yet. However, I am about to drop the smart shopper move right before we break down exactly which driver fits your specific handicap. Securing solid TaylorMade performance for less money is the absolute smartest move a budget buyer can make today. You can grab an R11 with a solid stock shaft for incredibly cheap right now. Dropping $600 on brand new tech is not going to magically fix an over-the-top swing.
So I officially name the R11 the round 5 winner. It is undeniably the toughest club to beat for pure used market value. Keep your cash for greens fees instead of gear you simply do not need.
Okay, let's rapid fire through the golfer fit matrix. Beginners, R11 all day long. Just keep it simple.
Mid-handicappers, slight lean to the R11 for that consistency.
Fast swingers and pure distance seekers, the R1 definitely takes the edge here to keep those spin rates down.
High handicappers, seniors, and slicers belong squarely with the R11.
Same goes for forgiveness seekers and budget buyers.
And if you are a gear tinkerer with 0 budget limits, well, the R1 is your primary weapon of choice.
Section 5. The biggest buying mistake, a costly reality check. Now, it's time for a massive pattern interrupt. This is a costly reality check that happens literally every single day in the pro shop. Buying for perfect swings instead of your real misses is a massive trap. Assuming newer is automatically better is a trap. If your usual miss is a weak slice out on the toe, you need the club that gives you the better bad shot. Look, I honestly almost did this myself last year. I bought this ultra-low spin bomber driver purely based on a spec sheet, but my swing speed could not keep the ball in the air, and it just nosedived into the rough all summer long. Buy for your actual swing, not the swing you wish you had. Let's do a fast, brutally honest, no brand protection, pros and cons breakdown. 11 pros: simplicity, strong used value, and really clean looks. Cons: it's older tech, and the spin rates can definitely creep a bit high for really fast swing speeds. For the R11, the pros are massive tuning upside, serious control, and it came with some genuinely excellent stock shaft options. The cons: it's highly complex, visually busy, kind of confusing, and can absolutely ruin your swing if you set it up poorly.
Section 6, final verdict and CTA. Time to settle the score.
We have finally reached the knockout stage. It's time to definitively answer which driver is better. For distance, pure tinkerers, and players with no budget limit, the R1 takes the crown. But for forgiveness, value, seniors, high handicappers, mid-handicappers, and beginners, the R11 sweeps the board. The R11 is the overall winner for average golfers. Listen, the better driver isn't the one with the most dials. It's the one that lets you write down lower numbers on your scorecard. Knowing your own game is the entire battle. So what is your handicap, and which driver are you picking? Drop your answer down in the comments below. Next time, we're putting the TaylorMade Sim 2 up against the Callaway Epic Speed in a massive distance showdown. Hit that subscribe button on this explainer channel right now to catch that battle.